Hello everyone, friends, family that I do know, that I don't know. I am making a quick video before going to work because it's too important to wait on, and I wanted to speak out in solidarity and honoring the pain of the Black community. I know there's nothing to be said. There's nothing that I can say that's going to make this better. But I do want you to know that you have white allies, and the rest of this video is for white people. So in Minneapolis on Monday night, George Floyd was murdered by 4 police officers, and last night our community, or many in the community, I was not there, but protested. There's some police involvement as well, and I think some tear gas and things like that. So I'm just gonna be up here as a reminder to white people to not silence the voices that you're hearing today and this week and yesterday. Do not write it off as if they're just angry or that these people deserved it or whatever excuse your mind is making. There is no excuse for such a thing. There is no excuse for violence or murder. There was no threat. And even if there was, then there are ways to handle that. So I'm really just encouraging you as a white person to practice empathy and patience. And first, that has to be with yourself, because the first thing we have to do is process the news and process the sadness or whatever might come up for us first. Like, that's the first thing we need to be able to do. And then we're able to witness our own maybe like defenses or our own barriers that come up between then us supporting people of color. So and I'm gonna say this, so people, a lot of those of you who are Christian or if you especially believe in kindness and the divine and the love of God, and if you believe like loving your neighbor, those things don't stop at race. Those things don't stop at the difference that you're experiencing with that other person. Like, your differences to that person do not make you superior, or it does not make you excluded from their pain. I think a lot of times, sometimes, because maybe, there's a lot that I think white people need to work through internally as far as like their own ability to witness the pain of people of color. And we need to be able to love the way God loves. And if you don't believe in God, then just go off your humanity. Like, you're a human being just the way that people of color are human beings, or minorities, or asylum seekers, or whoever else. Like, the only reason that you're safer is because you were born into a white body, and that's it. You have no actual merit to that. You have no personal, oh, I'm better, or I've made better decisions, things like that. Like, that's not true. So just I'm just encouraging you to really process, like, and if you feel like you really, it's kind of the old thing. If you don't feel like you have anything nice to say, then don't say it at all. I think you need to have some awareness of where you feel like you can process this. And if you feel like you're not processed it yet and you haven't come to a kind, empathetic conclusion, then don't say anything, because then you're just contributing to more trauma. And you're contributing to the problem of white people being unable to acknowledge their place in society as the oppressors, as the abusers, as the condemners. And this is not an easy thing to recognize, but the quicker that you can just admit, like, yes, there are systems of power in place in the American society and really in any society, but we're in America, so let's talk about that. But and if you are participating in that, you really need to be conscious of that, because you don't get to just continue the cycle and go without any consequences. And so, because there are consequences to that. Like, if you're participating in racial injustice and racism, and you're condemning other people for their lifestyles or the clothes they wear, or, you know, their history or where they're born into in the city, if you have any of that, then you are standing next to the murderer, because it's the system that's killing people of color, and it has been since forever, you know, since slavery, since they were stolen from their lands on boats and brought here. And so that's why you will also see the pain is so great. This isn't just one loss of life. This is hundreds of years of loss of life, and the loss of those families and the fathers and the mothers, and, you know, and all the, you know, brothers and sisters, like friends. Like, just imagine that grief, like the kind of space that grief needs, hundreds of years of grief. So for me, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go to work, where I work in a treatment facility. And I mean, probably more than half, if not more, of my clients are people of color. And I'm going to offer a grief circle. And I'm going to offer whether they want me to be in there or not. That's their choice. And if they do want me to be in there with them, I will witness their grief. We will create space for it, and we will create discussion. And I'm not going to lead that, because they don't need to hear from another white person. They need to hear from each other and support each other and love each other. And that's what we can do as a white ally, is create the space, shut the fuck up, and listen and honor their grief. And don't become defensive. And if you do, keep it to yourself until there's a more appropriate place. Like, I think there's different places for that. And if you want to, you know, do more of this work, I am setting up coaching for white people, so that you can have a place to kind of process and learn these type of things. I am also starting 2 book clubs in the next 2 weeks. And so one is this book, White Fragility. And then the other one is Tears We Cannot Stop. So these are for my white communities. If you don't want to join the book club, but you think, I need to learn more about this, I need to figure out what's going on, and, you know, in your programming, there's nothing wrong with you until you're consciously choosing to continue the programming. So learn the programming that you've been given by society or by your families or by wherever you got it from, the programming to hate others based off of their race or their class or wherever they're at in their life, their sexuality, whatever it might be. But in this case, it's race. And a lot of times poverty too. So if you can just read these and just say, I need to learn more about this programming that I have, great. That's a great place to be at. So then, once you learn, then if you continue to disregard the truth of that and continue to act on your racism, then there's something wrong with that. And just saying like, well, I didn't know. Well, yeah, we all didn't know something at some point, but we have a responsibility to learn it and to then do the work it takes to do that. And so that's my message. There's so much more I could say, but overall, be an ally, be a person of support, learn how to create space, and don't avoid it. Because people of color can't avoid this. Like, that's not something that they can just walk away from and act like it's not happening. So you find that place in you where you can open up more empathy and more space within yourself to hold that truth for them. And we're all in this together. We're gonna be able to make, I believe it. I believe we can make some healthy, balanced, loving, supportive, multicultural communities. Like, I gotta believe it. So, thanks everyone.